Hello all. Today I'm going to show you how to create a new variable in your dataset, which is going to be enormously helpful for this class. As we continue along, I recommend that you get some practice doing some of these various functions so that you can get more efficient and more effective building out data. So you're looking at right here a blank data set as we tend to when we do these exercises. But what I've done is I've built out the code to load in what is known as the movie data set. And SPSS hasn't been cooperating with me too much today, but the window is up here. And so what you're looking at is you're looking at a data set that was scraped from the Internet Movie Database. And this is a database that has tons of information about pretty much every movie that's ever been made. And so you can see the title of the movie, the year the movie was made, the budget if it was known. So you see a bunch of NAs here, but then down here you see a $450,000 budget. The rating from people on the internet, the genre, and so on. And while there is a bunch of really cool information in this data set that you could analyze, there might be some different types of calculations or things you want to do to the data to help you better understand a particular research question that you might have. So today I'm going to show you how to create a new variable. And keep in mind that these are rows and these are variables. And so what's going to happen is we're going to create a new variable off to the right over here. And that variable is going to summarize what is happening in each row in some way. So this is not a collection of all of the data for all of the rows. This is going to be some sort of manipulation of the data within one row, if that makes sense. So the way you do this is you go up to transform, and then you hit compute variable. This is the way you create any new variable. And this window you'll probably get really familiar with, but what it basically has is it has all of your current variables off to the left, and it has all of these functions and all of these things that you can do to any given variable off to the right. And this list is extremely long, but we're only going to be doing a very, very small number of these functions. So don't get overwhelmed by this. We'll walk you through it. But let's just say we want to create the most basic variable of all. We're going to create a basic indicator, a constant variable called 1. And over here, I'm just going to call it 1. So 1 equals 1. As always, we're going to paste this because we're into reproducibility. And you can see in our syntax window right here that down at the bottom there is compute 1 equals 1. Remember, you don't need to learn how to write this or this code. You just need to make sure it gets pasted in. And I'm sure it comes as no surprise to all of you that there is now a variable called 1, and for every single row it's a 1. Make sense? So to do something a little bit more complex, under the compute variable, you can actually do calculations within here. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to call a new variable just to show you how this works. We're going to call this 2, and we are going to actually we're going to select this variable called 1 and add 1 to it, and then paste. Again, look at our syntax. And again, I don't think you're going to be surprised at all to find that now we have taken the variable 1 and we have added 1 to it. And so you'll see a bunch of 2's. But basically what you can do is you can make a calculation: addition, subtraction, less than, equal than, greater than, multiplication, whatever it is you want from any of these existing variables. And so that allows you to make a bunch of different transformations and do a bunch of helpful things. The other thing that's really, really useful is that this allows you to make indicator variables or selection variables. And those are helpful for a bunch of reasons, but what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show you a quick way to use the logic within the compute variable as well. So this will be the third and final example in this exercise. So you go up to compute variable. By the way, there's always this reset button down here. If you ever just want to get rid of everything, it'll reset it out for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and make a variable that is an indicator, which means some will be 1 and some will be 0. And that indicator will select whether or not a particular condition is true. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to try and pick any movie from 1987 that is less than 90 minutes. Sound good? So we're going to first name it. We're going to call it, well, we don't want to call it filter. We'll call it, movie picker, whatever. We'll call it something better at another time. And here what we're going to do is we're going to say we want it to equal 1. But if, as you noticed earlier, if you do just that, you're going to get 1s for everything. So what we can do is we can go down here to this if statement. And this brings up a window that looks very much like the filter that we've already seen. And so you can include all cases, but you can also do if year equals 1987 and length is less than 90. And all of those functions are also here too. You can click on them: less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal, equal, not equal, and, or, and then this is sort of not, if you want to pick something that is not something. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab everything that is from 1987 and less than 90 minutes. And if it meets that condition, we're going to give it a 1. Does that make sense? Hope so. Paste that in. And again, we look at our syntax, and it built this nice little if statement for us. And we're going to run that. And then you will see that we have this movie picker in here. Now, most of them are going to be blank. But somewhere, if we do the descriptives like this, it turns out there are 333 movies that fit that criteria.